meet and welcome to Tarot Tuesday. We are having a tarot class today. This is Ariel and we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. Moderating today on YouTube is the lovely Shirley, and moderating on Twitch is the lovely Deline. Thank you so much, moderators. And thanks to everybody for joining us today for tarot class. We're here every Tuesday at 9:45 a.m., usually for just about a half an hour, sometimes even less. And we happen to be going through the Major Arcana, also known as the Tarot Trumps. And we've been doing that. Today we're on Trump number 11, which is the Strength card in the Ancient Tarot. Sometimes it's number 8 in some of the newer decks. And we'll get right to that. Just as a reminder, we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch, so we have a chat thread available on each of those streams. If you have questions, you can put them right in the chat thread and I can answer them before the end of the stream. I do have to get to work early today, so we won't be here too long, but I'll keep my eye on any questions and make sure to answer them. We have a shop at arielscornershop.com, arielscornershop.com. And we have all the different tarot decks that I happen to read with there that are still in print. And we make a small commission off of each and every sale because those are all affiliate links. If you'd like to give us a donation, you can do that by going to paypal.me/arielgatoga, paypal.me/arielgatoga. If you're watching live on YouTube, you could use a super sticker or super chat right in the chat thread if you feel like giving a donation on the platform. Or if you're watching on a restream, you could use a super thanks. So thanks so much for everything, and we will get going right now with our tarot class. So we are talking about the Strength card. Let's look at the Strength card. We're going to do some comparisons first. This is the one everybody's most used to because this is the most popular deck, and that's the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And you can see she's got an infinity symbol over her head. She's wearing some sort of a crown of flowers, or wreath, I should say. She's also wreathed in flowers around her as a belt or a sash. She is either opening or closing a lion's mouth in here. There are mountains in the back, and she's on an obvious natural terrain of some sort. She's wearing a dress or a tunic. We're not sure, or not tunic. She's wearing some kind of dress or robe there. All right, now this one is the Hoi Polloi deck, which is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. The only reason I'm looking at this is it's very similar, except for they decided to keep the old numbering. So this one's an 8 and this one's an 11. So I always thought that was interesting how they didn't transpose it, but they kept everything else pretty identical. She's got pretty much every other thing going on here. Oh, it's important to look too that on these the tail is between the legs of the lion. Pretty much everything else is the same here. Some mountains in the background. The terrain isn't as obvious here. But there we go. All right, here's one of the Marseille depictions of this. Now, instead of the infinity symbol, she's got this this hat, very similar to the magician's hat, which then turned into the infinity symbol. The infinity symbol is definitely implied there. Whether it was purposeful or not is up for debate. But she's wearing a noble dress, and she is also, we're assuming that's still a lion. It's some sort of beast that she is opening or closing the mouth. It's interesting to note that Ryder decided to tell, Waite decided to tell Pamela Coleman Smith to orient the action facing the opposite direction of the Marseille deck, which is what was his inspiration for these trump cards. So I'm not really sure what the purpose for that was. I'm sure there's something written somewhere that I just haven't read. Okay, here's another Marseille deck depiction. It's very, very similar. There's very little. You can see her feet sticking out here. You can sort of see it here, but not as well. But it's really not that different in depiction here. Very similar. Okay, now this is a Besançon deck. So this is from Switzerland. It's right on that Swiss-France border there. And it's also, this one doesn't look like a lion as much, though, to me. It's more just some sort of nondescript beast. But it's a similar kind of noble woman, but her hat is very different. And I think that was because of the region. The hat is different. Okay. And then if we look at the Manly P. Hall deck, he has gone back to the Marseille hat. He's got these little crossed sticks on the ground. Definitely a natural terrain. Perhaps those are mountains in the back. She's wearing a cloak, and she's also taming the lion there. There's a swan as their symbol. He's always got these little sort of shields on his cards, and the swan symbolizing purity. Okay, so now let's think of some of these symbolic depictions on this card, and then we'll also look at some of the divinatory meanings that might work for you. So if it's a lion, if it's definitely a lion in the picture, you can think of that as the sign for Leo if you want to. And as the sign for Leo, and then this woman here, to me, this is talking about on a real basic level, the change from Leo to Virgo is the summer solstice. So this is the card of the summer solstice. And the infinity symbol could be the eternality of that wheel turning. So when so Virgo tames the lion at the summer solstice as the sign changes from Leo to Virgo. And she is the power of the Virgin, which is that feminine power. So this is the card of courage. And a lot of times when we think of courage, we think of, swashbucklers and swords and knights in shining armor and things like that. But not the tarot. The tarot sees courage as being the innocence of Virgo taming the ferocity of Leo. The fact that she's in the older decks, the fact that she's of nobility is not so much a depiction of aristocracy in the time for us. Esoterically, it reminds us of our nobility, and because of who we are, because of how we are all part of a royal family, if you will, in spirit, that we have all powers to tame that which is a beast on our path. So no matter what it is, we have that power to tame the beast. Now, in a divination, why can't I talk today? A divination, divinatory meaning, oftentimes when we have this Leo card or this, the strength card come up, it's a reminder that we don't run away from things that are on our path. We don't run away or shrink away from things that appear to be ferocious and dangerous. That we turn and face the lions on our path. And that when we turn and face the lions on our path, that the innocence of the virgin within us, the innocence within us will tame that lion. And then we can even scratch its little belly. So what happens with the strength card is that we recognize that when we're not running, so like what would happen if you were running away from this lion? Instinctively, the lion would run after you. But you turn and face that lion. And you face it with innocence and compassion. And its response to you is to become your ally, to become your friend. Now, the lion laying down with the lamb in the New Testament, you could think of that as part of this as well. But the ram would be Aries rather than Virgo, Aries. So the lion laying down with the lamb could mean that an Aries and a Leo are having a good time. but really what it's talking about is the innocence and purity is what tames that which is ferocious. That which is ferocious. Because that which is ferocious is just misguided energy. A lion's only ferocious when they're hungry. A lion's only ferocious when they're in danger. But if their needs are met, if they've got their food, and if they're safe, they're just pussycats. They're not a danger to you. And so the same thing goes with any lion on your path. It's you don't need to run away from things, is what this is telling us. You don't need to run away from things. You don't need to be afraid. It's the motto of the strength card is there is nothing to fear, because the soul within you, which is this innocent being, which is represented by Virgo in that card, the soul within you has everything that you need to tame any wild beast that is on your path and turn it into your ally, turn it into your friend. Now, if the problem or the lion on your path can't become your friend or your ally, then it just disappears. Then it's seen for the mirage that it was. It's an illusion, right? But usually what this is that there are things in our lives which are going to be a source of strength for us, which we are misperceiving as being dangerous, misperceiving as being something that we need to run from. This came up in one of the readings today with the Five of Wands. A lot of times we automatically assume that anger is bad. Sometimes anger is the lion on our path, and we think, oh, no, we can't have anger. We can't have anger. We got to just stuff the anger because anger is bad. Anger is bad. Or we do the opposite. We indulge in the anger, and that just makes the lion ferocious. What this is telling us to do with something like anger is to let it be itself, is to let it roar, but you just make sure that it's got its needs met, and then the anger subsides. Sometimes anger is there to bring us to something better. Sometimes anger is just there because we need to express ourselves, or we haven't gotten our needs met. And so when we call on infinite intelligence within us, which is connected to our soul, we can get the needs met of whatever these parts of our personalities are that might be acting out, so that they don't act out anymore. And then we can tame those beasts, and those beasts become our friends, our allies. It's sort of like if you think of the lion as a sub-personality, a lot of times what happens is we just think, oh no, we got to cut all of that out of our lives. We got to cut the anger out. We got to cut the fear out. We got to destroy the ego. We got to kill the ego. That's not an effective way of working, because then all that does is then you just are playing a game of whack-a-mole for the rest of your life. What you do instead is you look at whatever the problem is in your life, and you recognize that there's a sub-personality, there's a personality deep within you, part of your personality deep within you, that's trying to help you in one way or another, but doesn't know how. It's misguided. It's operating on really old instructions, maybe from when you were a kid and you were developing coping mechanisms. It's just operating on old data, and it doesn't know any better. So rather than trying to kill it, which isn't going to do anything except for reinforce its fear or reinforce its bad behavior, you let it come up, you let it roar, and then you say, well, okay, I understand that you're trying to help me, but what you don't understand is that I can help you get your needs met and give you a better function so that we can all be happy. Right, and then what you're doing is you're getting you're making sure that this little part of your personality recognizes that you're there for it, that you're there to care for it, and you're going to give it all that it needs, and that it's safe, and that you're going to teach it and train it how it can help you instead of be a hindrance for you. So that's what happens is a lot of the neurotic behaviors that we have, once we tame them and care for them and retrain them, they become actually healthy parts of our personality that just were misguided and were going in the wrong direction, right? And so then we not only have stopped some negative neurotic behavior, but we've redirected it, and so that we're not wasting that part of ourselves where we are giving it a new job to fulfill, a new job. And then that ferocity is, instead of something that was against us and that we were running from, now is our ally and can ferociously move out and help us to obtain all of the things that we came here to obtain. And we've got another friend inside of us that is on our side, that is helping us every step of the way. So it's a beautiful card. I just love the strength card. Anytime the strength card comes up in a reading, I just am so happy, because it means that we're making friends with ourselves, that we are bringing up some old patterns in our lives that used to be such a problem, but now we're realizing all it needs is to get some food and have its tummy rubbed, and it's going to do anything we want. And that's such a beautiful way of looking at things, and it really does work. So let me see if we have any questions, and then we will end the stream. Okay. How important is it to know my birth time and day? It saddens me when they ask this in order to get a proper reading. I never ask that when I'm giving a reading. If you don't know, you say you don't know what day you were born? You don't know your birthday? Okay, that I don't know how to help you with that. But if you don't know the time of day you were born, you can just substitute 6 a.m. It won't necessarily be the rising sign that you really had, but it's always a stand-in for your rising sign. Another option is to have the rising sign be something that's ruled by Mercury, either Virgo or Libra is another thing that some people do. But I like to just say, for your stand-in, if you don't know what time of day you were born, say 6 a.m. And 6 a.m. can be a good stand-in. That's just an old rule of thumb I used back when I used to do astrology readings back in the day. And it always works. It always works just fine. But yeah, other than that, I mean, and that's what we do with angel magic too. You can either use Raphael as the angel of your rising sign, or you can find out what sign was rising at 6 a.m. when you were born. But as far as if you don't know the day you were born, that can be tricky. All right. Well, that looks like all the questions we had. Thank you for that question. And we'll be back for another class next week. I hope that you can join us for the rest of our magic streams. Wednesday through Sunday, we're here at 10:15 a.m. instead of 9:45 a.m., always in Pacific time. Thank you so much to the amazing moderators. Today we had Shirley on YouTube and Deline on Twitch. I adore you. I appreciate you. And I adore and appreciate everybody that is watching. And we will see you soon. Much love and many, many blessings.